So when I was in direct sales, I was doing door-to-door sales. You were in another company at the time promoting what was your fitness drink. Going dorm to dorm at that time, you're doing dorm to dorm and you're going to houses. And then after your company, it went through a dip and you were in this period, you're like, what the do I do, right? And I remember, bro, there was so much, because in our world, it's super tight. So much animosity was coming your way. They're like, oh, this guy was labeled this. You fucking heard it all. You went through all public criticism. Most people quit their business after 3 comments. And now you're in a situation where, number one, you were young. You wanted to make money. You were helping a lot of people out. You had probably a lot of people flip on you. In that moment, dude, what was your decision-making process to be like, okay, what am I going to do next? How did you mentally deal with everybody? Because I think, a lot of people quit their business after 5 people shit on them. What was really happening inside? What was your next move? What were you thinking? I want to know in that period, what was happening inside of your life?
A lot was happening. It was tough because I made a decision to leave the company, and then it got raided by the FTC like 12 days later. So people were like, oh, he knew about it and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, dude, the SWAT team called me and let me know. You know what I mean? I'm very transparent. I mean, it was a very dark time. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, quote unquote, like actually depressed. But if I was, it was in that 6-month time frame. It was, like you said, the Rolling Stone national publication, reamed me in the National Rolling Stone magazine. Somebody tweeted at me and my mom, I hope you guys die in a car crash. Personal development. I mean, it's crazy as that sounds. Like, I would get lost in Bob's material. Me and him, people don't even know this. In that period of time, he actually turned his back on me for like 7 months. He did not pick up my phone call. So not only did like all this happen, my closest mentor next to like my parents, like thought I was like the spawn of Satan for 6 months until the truth came out, right? So in that moment, personal development really saved me in keeping the faith, man, like keeping the belief. And I always told myself, like, if you can look up, you can get up. And I realized that I wasn't perfect in that company. I was like the cause of the success. And then ego, and then not controlling other people's egos. It just got crazy. You give a bunch of 21-year-old, 22-year-old kids 50, 80, 130 grand a month, shit goes crazy, right? But in that moment, I made the decision in about a 48-hour period. I returned my BMW car lease. I paid a penalty on that. I broke my condo in Arizona's lease, paid a penalty on that. And this is when my money was super low. Broke up with the girlfriend that I was living with at the time because she wasn't the one anyway, and I just did that. I left all my clothes at my parents' house in Vegas. I called my cousin and I said, come to Vegas. We're going to go on tour, maybe for a month, maybe for the next 4 years, and we're going to build this thing one more time. And we're going to give it everything we have, and we're either going to win and become literally number 1 in the world, or we're just going to, die trying. And I was at the point where it's like, when your back's against the wall, 'cause I told so many people all over the world, like, yeah, like network marketing, yeah. So like, when your back's against the wall, you can't go back anymore. You can only go forward. So we made the decision, and thank God it all obviously worked out.
What do you think changed now when you were 20 building the company? What have you seen personally in yourself that you had to adjust in order to get to where you are? And the reason why I'm asking this is because there's not a lot of individuals like yourself that had the type of income consistently come in, knowing that it's consistently coming in, knowing that you got a fucking team and it's leveraged out and people are doing your work and you got time. But I never seen you on the beach posting tequilas. Of course, when you married, your beautiful wife, you guys are enjoying your time. It's the season of your life. But what in the 5-6 years inside of your company right now that you're in right now, what have you seen change in order for you to stay consistent over the last decade of you working? Because some people, man, they make $50,000 check and they fucking checked out. And they're like, oh, I'm good, and then next thing you know what, they lose their $50,000 check and they're gone. To me, I mean, the most attractive thing to me, to you, is, you've been able to stay consistent over the last 10 years, and you pop up every single day over the last 10 years.
Much August 2016 till the first COVID shutdown, it was like legitimately every 72 hours, either a room full, minimum of 200 up to like, several thousand people, or a flight. I think my record was 32 takeoffs in 1 calendar month.
Takeoff flights.
Like planes.
Yeah.
Like planes, From 2016 to COVID, man, it was just nonstop all the time. And I think I was building, it started off as like an angry build. Like, I'm going to show the world. Like, anyone that ever says shit to me, I'm going to literally shove it. Like, I'm going to shove my success so far down your throat. Like, your great-grandmother is going to shake in her coffin. Like,
but do you think that's necessary? Because I feel like both are necessary.
Yeah.
Because I don't think if you have that, it's a balance. Like, some people are like, oh, don't be competitive. I was talking before you came. game. And I'm like, it's a bit of like the fuck you mentality mixed in with the like, I love you mentality. It's okay. This is part of the season.
I agree.
Like, I go
100%.
through seasons of scary competition where nobody will fucking touch me. Then I go through seasons where it's like, all right, Alex, let's collaborate. Yeah. But there's one season where I'm like, dude, this guy's not gonna fucking touch me internally, right? So I feel like there's a season of competition.
Just I can still like feel it in my like fist right now. Like I was just so like I got to do. I have to win, or like I'm not gonna be happy. Like I was just I was sick. Like and not everybody in this room. Not everybody here needs to make $500,000 a week, and that's totally fine. But to your questions, like to get to a certain degree and aspect of success, like you need to be obsessed. Like if you study Kobe, Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Tom Brady, anyone that's great, even like Kevin Hart. Like my wife and I went to see Kevin Hart for New Year's, like, and you study like his podcast and stuff. Like Kevin's like, dude, I still wake up. I'm in the gym at 5 a.m. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Rock to Dwayne Johnson. Like I'm so attracted to that, and like I'm happy doing that. Like I enjoy it. Like to me, it's not. I make it stressed or work. Like this event next weekend. I'm in well over $1 million.
But dude, do you think you're harder on yourself than people are towards you? Because I feel like I'm harder on myself than anybody can ever be towards me. That's why, like, sure. I have like, some people are like, love yourself. I feel like I beat myself up whether I'm working out. When I'm working out, I think I'm an athlete. In my head, I'm like, I'm gonna work out like I'm an athlete. I want when somebody runs by, they're gonna think this guy's a fucking marathon runner. That's how I think. I'm hard on myself. So when the outside world comes in, I'm like, oh, this is fucking easy.
Yeah. When you're your biggest criticizer and you're your biggest, cheerleader, because the people that love you, that are around you, they help remind me. Like my wife, for example, she's like, so everything's gonna be okay. Like, you've done a lot. Like it's okay. But that internal like voice is like, there's always another level. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about there's always another level of service and becoming and heightened spiritual awareness and serving and just freaking making it happen. You know what I mean?
So why did you, now fast forward next week, you have an event down here in Miami. The first question I have was this: why did you decide to do an event on your own? You don't have to, like you've done 1 million events, and now you have an event where you invested over $1 million in speakers, venues, marketing, teams, everything. What was the goal? Why did you do an event? What was it? You don't need more exposure. You definitely don't need more money, right? You have enough to give everybody here. So what was the point? Why did you do the event?
Well, the initial
because you're putting yourself through a lot of stress by doing it.
Yeah,
it's a lot different than your company.
I'm building the PowerPoint out like 8 hours a day, and I'm thinking like, man, like this is fucking crazy.
What was the decision when you're like, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, so it was originally going to be Bob and myself. So before COVID, right? Before COVID, he went to Vegas. He found a venue at the Bellagio with his assistant, and he came up with the name. It was going to be called The Mentor and the Millionaire, and we were going to basically do a seminar where he was going to do his thing, and then I was going to come up, and he's going to basically like the passing of a torch type of thing, very emotional thing. And we were FaceTiming during COVID, and then he got sick and all these things, and then he passed away on my wife's birthday, and the day he passed away, his wife called me and said, before social media goes crazy, I just want to let you know Bob passed away and he's in a better place now and it's okay. And that night, I called my internal team and I said, we're doing the event anyway. Get the convention center, make it Miami instead of Vegas because Miami's cooler. I'll get the speakers and we'll make it happen. It's purpose. It's like the whole idea of growth and contribution, like the pillars of humanity. Like I'm on the whole growth and contribution. Like I wanna, when I walked in, a couple of these younger guys, hey man, I'm doing this in my business and thank you so much for the videos, all that kind of stuff. Like that drives me now. Like another $100,000 wire. It's like, okay, that's great, but it's like you get to a point financially where it's like whatever. And rich people blow their heads off every day, so it can't all just be about money. It needs to be growth, contribution, service. I look at Tony Robbins and I'm like, dude, he's a billionaire. And he freaking does events all over the world every year because it just fills him up. Like this is one of the ways I get filled up with the love of my wife and our marriage, our relationship, my family, and then helping people. And then obviously health and fitness. Now I'm trying to get in better shape. But that's me, man. I want to change the world, dude. That's what I want to do.
My name is Darwin Torres. My question is, you maintain the calm moments that are like usually in the past you used to be like very under pressure or under stress. How you maintain the calm?
How do I maintain calm under pressure and under stress? If I go to a doctor, the doctor's like, man, your like stress levels are amazing, and he thinks they're always going to be skyrocketed because I'm working 24/7. I traveled the whole world last year, went to every single freaking continent that you could think of. I'm doing red-eye flights like Alex. So everybody, when they look, and especially if you watch me in my zone, you're like, shit, this guy's always so tense. Like, what, does this guy sleep? Right? You're like, he must be so stressed out. But then when he takes blood work of me, because everybody should actively do that, by the way, okay? Not just because you guys are having sex, like I'm serious, just take blood work, okay? So, when he takes blood work, he's like, I'm surprised. He's like, cortisol levels are amazing. He's like, you're always calm, cool, and relaxed. And I said, I think every human being is born with great energy in life. And I think I'm so good at protecting my energy. I don't allow other people to withdraw it from me. So when I said, like, most people lose their energy, not because of themselves. You come out of here, you're like, fuck, I have big dreams now. I want to make $100,000 a month. Okay, they did it. I could do it. So watch the energy. You're good. Then you wake up in the morning, you're ready to start your day. Then somebody texts you and they up your day. They withdraw your energy, not you. You've allowed now somebody to withdraw it, right? So when everybody comes up to me, they're like, man, how do I generate energy? I'm like, it's not how you generate it, it's how you protect it. If somebody is going to be out there trying to withdraw from you 24/7, you all have great energy. It's just how you protect it around you. Complainers, number one. I'm like, who's trying to withdraw from me today? Who just wants a shoulder to lean on to fucking complain? There's a difference between somebody complaining and somebody coming up to you with problems where they actually want something to happen. So a lot of people start fueling complaints inside of their business, start fueling complainers inside of their business. Oh, Daniel, it's hard for me to do this. Complaint. How's that a complaint, Daniel? Well, because they didn't come up to me and say, hey, by the way, Daniel, I did X, Y, and Z inside of my sales business today and experienced X, Y, Z. What would you do differently? Problem. See the difference? Somebody out there is going to take everybody's energy and start leaning on these complaints. And I'm like, hey, whose problems can I solve? How can I constantly protect my energy?
So I always make sure my focus is on something, on where it is I'm going. If something's bothering me right here, if it's a challenge, problem, obstacle, I'll tell you what I do. I write it down on a piece of paper. I put it on a table, and I back away from the table, and I look at it, and I ask myself, is this problem inside of me, or is it outside of me? Obviously, it's outside of me because it's on a table, right? Then I walk around the table, and I think in my head, okay, what would Grant Cardone do with this challenge or obstacle? Then I walk to the other side of the table, and I said, what would Bob Proctor do with this obstacle and challenge? I walk to the other side of the table, I would say, what would Ed Milet, who's worth $800 million, happily married, great father, gives to his church and stuff, what would he do with that challenge, an obstacle, okay? And then I just know being calm allows us to think, right? Everyone in this room, when something happens, you don't want to react like a wild dog. You want to think and respond. There we go.
Mentored by Bob Proctor. What's something that stays in your mind that he's told you that's like something that is at the top of your mind as like a little voice that you hear from him? Like, what's like the best advice you got from Bob?
So many things. The most profound quote, though, was if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And because whenever I would talk to him about different goals, whether it was, the first $100,000 a year or a month or whatever it was, or how to scale internationally and all these different things, he always said, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And he said, it's all, he always would tell me it's all in awareness. Keep working on the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions and the actions, because to change the result, you have to first go change your thinking. So the quote is, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. This building didn't just show up. Somebody thought about it first, right? So it's a three-step process. We think about it in our imagination, which is a higher faculty. Number two, we put it on paper. Number three, we build it right here. Your business in this room, everybody's business in this room, you see it in your mind first. Number two, you make a blueprint, a strategy, and a plan. You learn how to sell from this guy, and then you go do it in the physical. So everything is 3 steps. So that was probably the most profound thing that Bob taught me.
Thank you, brother.
Got it.